Hi friends, I'm Very Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube, and I use spirit, my intuition, the tarot to communicate energies to you guys, amazing, beautiful viewers. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I am so glad to have you here and that you found me. Hopefully these messages do resonate for you, and if they do, I hope you stay and subscribe. If you are returning, I'm so blessed, so honored, so grateful to be here doing your reading again. So, beautiful viewers, what are we doing? We're taking a look at you versus the person on your mind and what's going to happen in the next month. So this could certainly be passing energy or current energies between you and your person. Okay, because all of you guys sort of sit differently on the timeline of energy that I'm tapped into here. And if it sounds like very old energy, you might want to go check out another pile, okay? Because the intent is to look at future energies between you and your person approximately a month ahead. So if you're watching at the time of the recording, then you could certainly look at this as the month of July coming in for you and your person, give or take. And energy is not linear for sure. So this, like I said, could certainly be something that is passing out of existence or currently underway. So if you feel it is too old to be your sort of incoming month, then you might want to go check out another pile and see if the energy is resonating for you. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and I will put the timestamp in the description box and in the pinned comment below. You guys are all very safe. Welcome in this space with me today, and we will see what the month ahead has going on between you and this person. Now, I will be doing left versus right, so you could be either side. You could fall on the left side or on the right side. That's up to you to determine. I will be sort of looking at this as person 1 and person 2, okay? And then you can crisscross energies as you see fit. But do keep in mind this is a general reading, meaning there's a lot of people here, and so specific messages sometimes come through for certain people, okay, that are needing to hear whatever it is. Don't force those messages to fit. But the overall sort of energy in that pile should be resonating for you. Okay, so I will see you guys at your pick. Hello, gorgeous angels. Pile 1. You guys picked this pre-shuffled oracle pile, and we're looking at person 1 versus person 2, and that will be you versus your person. Crisscross energies. I'll be doing person 1, person 2 format, and then whichever side you sort of resonate with will be your side. The other side will be your person. If neither side sounds like your energy at all, then most likely not your pile. Okay, don't force anything to fit here. Just because you were intuitively pulled to that pile does not necessarily mean it is your pile. Could be a message in there. Or sometimes we're just not using our intuition, and that's absolutely what happens, okay? So not every single time will we get our pile right. So beautiful pile number 1. Let us take a look at you versus your person here and see what we get. So this will be this side, and this will be the shared energy with, wow, you guys are getting chaos already. My little lion is falling over. And this will be this person here. Okay, so let us take a look at the month ahead between you and this person on your mind. So we have 22 with the creator. 22 is a master number. It is about healthy energetic boundaries, also divinely guided relationships. It's the peacemaker, diplomacy. Okay, 22, the creator. We have summer, and this is number 18. So although we have a tree here, I am getting from the symbol here, air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but I am also getting earth energy from this, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. So that could certainly be an indicator here for either you or your person, depending what side you fall on. Alchemist, light attribute, transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. Shadow attribute, misuse of power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. And we have swallow. Okay. We'll call this person the alchemist. just to kind of keep it simple, this could be you or your person. And let's look at the other person. So we have the Exorcist. Light attribute, feeling yourself and others. Oh, sorry, freeing, not feeling, freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. Shadow attribute, fear of facing your own demons. Okay, and then we have the jellyfish. And we have the vow with 54, or the number 9. 9 is the hermit in the tarot. It is all about the self-reflection, and it represents Virgo energy. And then we have resin here with 38, or number 11, and 11 is a master number as well. It's about divine inspiration and the synchronicities, and also the encouragement to keep going. Okay, so let's see if I could tap into this before I get into sort of what's going on here and energy that's coming in the next week. We'll pull some tarot as well, but this will give you an idea of who's who and what's going on right now, so that you know whether this is your pile. Okay. So the alchemist versus the exorcist. I feel like the alchemist here feels like somebody who is certainly trying to manifest something and work within this connection. I'm going to take it as though, we'll see if it turns, because this person could certainly be focused on creating something in their own life, manifesting something at the exclusion of this exorcist person, but I don't feel that right now. What I do feel is that this alchemist is trying to do whatever it sort of takes here to develop something or create something or work with this exorcist, so that things can flourish, so that they can manifest something greater. So I am feeling as though I'm feeling a very new energy here, although with the swallow, this is generally when the Navy sends the swallow out to see if there's land coming up ahead, to see if the journey is coming to an end. So you would think that there would be a very long journey here before they throw out this swallow. But what I am really getting with the lightning here, yes, okay, thank you, Spirit. Sorry, sometimes it takes a bit to get the full sort of energy, and we will once we lay tarot as well. But I feel this is sort of a new connection here. It's kind of what I feel, okay? And I feel like the alchemist has been trying to work with, manifest, create something here with this exorcist, and I feel like, you know, their intention is in developing something healthy and something that they can enjoy, you know, that's going to be fun for them, that they enjoy, okay? But I feel like something happened here between the two, and I do feel it might have been something maybe sudden or something unexpected, like especially if you're resonating as this being a new connection. Now, you could have known this person for some time. I say you, oh my goodness, this alchemist could have known this person for some time, these two. Okay, but the actual working on this type of connection that these two are working towards, I think, is fairly new. So if they've been friends for a long time, then they might have just started to try dating. You know, if they've known each other for a long time, known of each other, but they've never really dated, let's say, for example, or, you know, are connected. This connection, I feel, is fairly like new when it comes to the type of connection that's this alchemist and this exorcist have been kind of engaged with in the last little while. So that part I feel is fairly fresh and new, but I feel like something happened here, okay? Something happened that might have made this alchemist sort of see this exorcist in a different light, or come to not know or understand a certain aspect of this connection. And so I feel like this alchemist is sort of wondering right now what has happened and whether they're still on plan. Like, I feel like the alchemist has a vision, a plan, and is still of the mind that things could have worked and things could, you know, build to a fun summer here, which is, you know, like really enjoying each other and seeing the best in each other. And I feel like something now is made this alchemist question. And if they are apart, then this alchemist is wondering, you know, is this just a blip in this connection that's going to pass soon, you know, or is this separation, or this person's parting of ways, or the way that they're acting, or what I'm experiencing here just a short-term thing? Is this connection just a short-term thing? Is it going to pass? Or is this something that is going to sort of stand the test of time? I think there's a lot of questions with this alchemist here, you know? And I think they were willing to engage to find out, to see if this is something that could stand the test of time, or if this was just going to be like a temporary situation. So let's tap into here and see what we get. So this exorcist, I feel like this exorcist is a little bit of a conundrum here, because I'm getting sort of two different types of energies. Like, I feel like this person could certainly be stuck on some experience that's happened to them emotionally or mentally or just energetically. Now, when I say stuck, this doesn't necessarily mean they're still in love with their ex and, you know, and are sort of, I don't know, going through some sort of breakup. But I feel like there's something of the past that has made this exorcist person sort of feel emotionally triggered in the past, that hasn't allowed them to resolve something that's keeping them sort of hostage to an experience of the past. But at the same time, with this jellyfish, I feel like this person is has been showing like they've been open to whatever situationship. This person seems to be going with the flow. This person seems to be not really fixated or stuck on any sort of one way of doing things. Like, they seem like they're free-flowing, carefree, and open, which I feel is giving this alchemist person indication to believe that this exorcist person is available and willing to, you know, take things as it goes. And I do feel like this exorcist was wanting to go with the flow here in this connection, if I gotta be honest with what I'm feeling, like see how things would pan out. But I think what has happened here, okay, this is getting kind of clear, because I do feel this is more a situation that has happened. I feel like this exorcist wasn't expecting a past experience to come up out of their psyche or out of their subconscious here, to get them to be triggered in some way here that I feel they weren't expecting. So I feel like this exorcist person, you know, could have been engaged with the alchemist, showing up, trying to engage, really wanting to move along here, you know, and commit themselves to, I don't know, like seeing what would come of this freely, and kind of enjoying themselves. And potentially, because this does still feel fairly new still at this point, not knowing, you know, what the future would hold. And so there wasn't a whole bunch of maybe pressure or understanding, because it was still new. So I feel like there were no what I keep hearing is like pressure, because things were still being figured out. So this person was okay with going with the flow. You know, they were okay with finding out. They were okay with the state. But I feel as though maybe things started changing, okay? Because at a certain point, I feel like these two sort of rode together to a point where now this person was supposed to, or should have, or naturally would have maybe escalated to the next level, or indicated their intention here, you know? So it's like these people were seeing each other for quite some time, but now there would be a natural inclination to take it to the next step, whatever this next step would be. And it could be that this alchemist puts this exorcist maybe on the spot and was saying, okay, like, we've been talking for X amount, and now I'd like to know, like, where's this going, or what's happening here? And I feel like this could certainly be the sudden thing that's happened here between these two, as I feel the exorcist probably got triggered by some past thing, relationship, childhood thing, a trauma of the past, something that they haven't resolved, that's kind of frozen in time in their psyche and their experience. And so their response to this alchemist was something the alchemist wasn't prepared to hear, or just wasn't expecting this exorcist to be triggered the way that they got triggered, however they responded or reacted. And so I feel like this created this sort of tension between the two, because I feel like the exorcist could have just switched up, is what I feel, switched up suddenly, you know. But we see the vow here, which is all about committing ourselves and dedicating ourselves and rising above, to see sort of the bigger picture here. And I feel like this person, I feel like there's this part of this person that maybe wanted to believe that if they would go with the flow and lean into whatever was going on, that, you know, eventually they'd be able to sort of navigate through this situation, meaning, you know, something that has been buried deep inside of them that needs to be addressed. But I don't feel that this exorcist person was expecting to maybe be as stuck as maybe they are inside, in regards to not allowing them to commit, or not allowing for them to move forward towards the next step. And so it's not that I think that this person's like, ooh, completely surprised in any way, but I feel like they were kind of not necessarily thinking that I don't know, it's like a fun time. We're not necessarily thinking about, you know, that we're going to get to a place where we're going to have to make a decision, and so we're going with the flow, and then at a certain point our feet get held to the fire and we have to make a decision. And now this person's like, oh, like, you know, they kind of might have known, and well, they had a something in their psyche, something in their subconscious here that certainly is familiar to this person in some way, but it is a shadow that they don't see. And so I feel like they were acting out of shadow by sort of trying to dance around, you know, like, look at me, I'm flexible and I can engage and I can be, you know, free and engage with this alchemist and see where things go. And I'm not stuck to anything. I'm not traumatized really by anything that's impacting how I act and react. And so I'm sort of lying to myself in a way here, because inside there is something that's stuck. Inside there is an experience here that needed to be unpacked. Inside there's something that limits me from actually going to some next level, or committing myself, or dedicating myself, or rising above a situation here that's been resolved, because I'm still have this inner reflection, this inner sort of experience that's creating me to act in a way that isn't necessarily what I want, but it's acting in a way here that I need to resolve, which might be they pulled away, or they were distant, or they said, no, I'm not really serious, or whatever. And I feel this person might have been shocked, because I feel up until now, the alchemist and the exorcist have been spending time together, have been trying to really work together. I feel like the alchemist was putting in energy and effort to work towards something great, you know, like had this vision, had this vision keeps coming through, had a vision, had an idea, an understanding in their mind of what it could be. And I feel like this exorcist was flying by the seat of their pants, but also having fun, and not in a way that's like, oh, I just want to use the alchemist for fun, but it was kind of in a surface sort of engagement here, because I feel it was okay to be surface to a certain point until, you know, the rubber meets the road. And I feel like this alchemist could have certainly put this exorcist on notice, I guess, if you will, or said, hey, sorry if you hear a lawnmower outside, and said, hey, like, what now, or what's this next step, or what are we doing here? And, you know, this exorcist was enjoying the dynamic and the play and the fun time, the summertime. But now, you know, with relationships, they're not all about summer. We got to enjoy the winter, the fall, and the spring, you know. And I feel like the summer was coming to an end, you know. And the summer was coming to an end because there's only so much lighthearted play we can have in a connection before we have to sort of show up, if that's the type of connection we want, right? So I feel like this exorcist, in order to show up, would have to come to terms or see or face something within their psyche, or an experience here that's locked away. that's preventing them from doing whatever this alchemist here had envisioned for the two of them, you know? Not that the exorcist didn't see a future so much as I don't think they were thinking that far ahead. I think they were just kind of going with the flow, thinking things would be fine and things would morph as they morph. And when they morph, then I'll deal with them then. But right now, I'll just kind of go with the flow. You know, and the alchemist is like, okay, like we've now been seeing each other for X amount. Like now it's time to discuss, like, where are we headed? You know, like, are we wanting more? Are we on the same page? Like, here's sort of what I envision or what I thought we were creating, and what's your take, exorcist? And the exorcist might have just responded in a way here, or did something, or didn't respond, or whatever their reaction response was, I think wasn't what this alchemist was wanting to hear or expecting to hear. And so this could have led to a separation, it could have led to an argument, it could lead to just tension between these two. Okay, so now that we have that, sorry, I know I repeated a lot here, but I feel like that, something like this, okay? Like, this is the general gist of it. And let's take a look at energy here. So this will be for the upcoming month ahead, okay? Give or take. I mean, it's not exactly 30 days, you know, it could be past that. It could be the beginning of these 30 days here coming up. So it could be something that happens next week. Let's take a look. So we have the Sailor, new influences, and Wanderlust. So I was getting from the Swallow, the Sailor energy, and Wanderlust here from this jellyfish, sort of like exploratory energy here. We see two koi fish and the ship. Ship is all about travel, movement. Okay, we see the water here, all about emotions. Ships or fish are all about abundance, and then we see the sun in the background, which is all about being enlightened. But the ship is in the way. So, yeah, okay. We still need to lay these, but what I feel is, again, the same energy. It's like the alchemist could have said, where are we traveling to? Like, where's this headed? And wanting illumination on this, like clarity, you know, and I don't know that the exorcist provided clarity on where this was moving. And I feel like emotions got high, emotions are involved, and both these fish are facing opposite ways. So it almost seems as though they wanted two different things here, but the fish are kind of, they roam around kind of, you know, not really sort of in a targeted, pointed way. So I feel like there was a lot of like being thrown about and sort of not knowing where we're going. So the alchemist was like, okay, like we've done this wandering for a while. Like, where are we going? You know, where are we going? And we have these intense emotions here that we've both been sort of involved with here. Do we know where we're moving towards? You know, and there could have been, for some of you guys, definitely there could be distance. Okay, like travel involved here. But I feel like for some of you guys, this is a specific message that maybe there was supposed to be a trip, like coming together, or a trip here that maybe didn't happen, you know, like didn't happen all of a sudden. Like maybe the exorcist got cold feet and so called it off, or the trip didn't happen, you know. Okay, so let's see. We have helmets, guardedness, isolation, and self-protection. So that's sort of what this feeling I was getting with this exorcist. You know, being guarded, being protecting of themselves. So we'll see what comes in the next 30 days. I think this is still kind of energetically, you'd know this happening, okay? And then we'll see what's sort of coming in. But this gives you an idea if you resonate. But yeah, it's like self-protection, really, because if this exorcist was to just allow themselves to engage with this alchemist next level, it's like this exorcist would feel almost like, you know, they're not protecting themselves from experiencing something that might have been very hurtful in the past that needs to be resolved. So they're quite guarded. And with this isolation, I still feel like potentially, you know, there is a no contact, or this exorcist is pulled away, or might have even ghosted, or just stopped communicating in some way, or been more just guarded. So they feel very removed. And isolation is also hermit energy. So I feel like, yeah, like this exorcist person is reflecting, or really needing to dive into their own sort of shadow here. Trigger, yeah, that's certainly what I was feeling with the lightning bolt. Like there was a conversation, or the way this exorcist acted certainly could have been triggering, or at least it caused a triggering effect in this connection. But the real trigger was when the exorcist had to face something here, and that was deep within their psyche. and I don't know that they faced it because the hermit's still coming out. So it's like they have to unpack this trauma or recognize what's going on within them that's stuck. But I feel like when we have these, we get triggered on the outside, maybe not knowing, you know, and I feel there was a trigger here by how the alchemist was sort of wanting clarity, was maybe wanting to know the direction, was maybe asking this exorcist, like, what's going on? And then this exorcist got triggered. So the response was quite triggering. Yeah. Growth. That's totally like, you know, what are we planting here? Like, it's already sprouted, and like, again, it's giving me confirmation, like this is a fairly newish thing here, you know, like it never really went past a certain growth. So it could be that you were with this person, or this exorcist person was together with this alchemist for quite some time, although I feel like what has grown between these two is something that hasn't really grown past the sprout. And so it's the question the alchemist has was, okay, like we've been sprout for a while, you know, like what's happening here? So I have these baby roots that could be pulled out. So it's like, are we going to plant deeper roots here? Like what's happening here? I don't know, I'm getting different energy too. Like, I feel like the alchemist sort of felt alone. See just one sort of head here, like, I don't, like the sprout was, yeah, like this sprout was really the effort or the energy of this alchemist, you know, like they created whatever was there, but I feel they created it on their own. And so they're at a point here where it's like, okay, like I feel I've, obviously it does take two, you know, to kind of engage in a way here, but I really feel like this alchemist mostly was the one sort of giving to a situation that resulted in a sprout. But I think the alchemist was like, okay, like I don't want to be, you know, one-sided here, where I'm now seeing what we have, and now I need to know, exorcist, like, are you going to be involved in this creation of us two being something more, you know, rooting whatever this is? Because I do feel this alchemist felt sort of like they did it alone. So a lot of you guys could certainly be this alchemist. Chaos, yeah, that's this. Now we don't know which way's up. You know, there's a bunch of chaos here because we've triggered the thing within the exorcist, you know, the demon within the exorcist that needs to be looked at. And the exorcist doesn't know, you know, when we have trigger, we have no idea. So unless we actually do the hermit's work here, we could keep staying stuck in a trigger. Something of the past could remain there. And so instead of looking at it, you know, this exorcist could certainly just pull away and run, you know, which is causing chaos to this alchemist because things were planted as far as they were concerned, or there was something here. And now they're experiencing with this chaos and not expecting this sort of reaction or this state. A fearful world, 69, that's certainly this exorcist fearing the worst case scenarios, keeping them in their nightmares, you know, like if I return to being open and not protecting myself and whatever, like I have to face certain things here that I'm not prepared to face, and everything looks kind of shadowy and scary. Self-worth. So I feel this is a reflection of both these people learning their self-worth. You know, like the alchemist is going to have to eventually sit with their own understanding that they're worthy of just more than them just creating a two-sided relationship on their own. You know, like something that they want in a relationship is going to have to be coming from both sides here. And so I feel like this person has a lesson in learning their self-worth and their value, whereas the exorcist here, I feel is needing to learn about their self-worth, because I feel like whatever's happened here is not allowing them to just be love, receive love. And so they push and get triggered and guarded. But empty chairs usually signify someone leaving your life, you know? So I feel as though there could be a separation is coming through again. And it could be that this exorcist is needing some time to detach from this situation, to reflect. Whether they do or don't, I don't know yet whether they're doing this, but this could certainly be spirit showing exorcist is pulling away, or walked away, or left, or ghosted, or just suddenly did this thing you know, reacted they did because of the fact that they need to discover their self-worth. They need to do this sort of inner work here, which is a cascade effect towards this alchemist now, because the alchemist is left looking, saying, hey, like, am I not worthy of love here? Like, what's going on? I thought we had something going on here, you know? And so now this alchemist is needing to learn about their own self. Okay. And I'm getting sacral chakra from the orange in these karma cards. And we have 69, which is all about sensuality. So I feel like there's a lot of passion between these two, like sensual energy. I feel they really connected sort of on an intimate level here. And so this certainly could have triggered this exorcist person, you know, with this resin. Renewal. So this is a reconciliation, okay? This is a renewal of the partnership here. So if you are in a no contact here, I do feel there will be a renewal here, okay? But I really feel as though, see, this sun is still blocked here, and this sun is blocked here. Like, we need to get clear and certainty in regards to our own action here, and I feel like there's still a need to get clear. Okay, and so I feel like this exorcist might want a reconciliation, might come in, but I feel like they're still getting in the way of the certainty and the clarity here. Okay, and then the red is root chakra, which I feel that is this triggering energy when it comes to guardedness, you know, like the root chakra is our own survival, you know, protecting ourselves. It's like our shelter and our, yeah, like we need to feel safe and grounded, and the roots coming through here. And I don't feel this exorcist is grounded in their energy. They need stronger roots. They need to go deep. They need to really examine themselves here, you know. But I feel like this is interesting. This actually is coming through someone who I did a private reading for. So if you're here, I do feel the same exact sort of same energy here. Almost identical to what it was that I peeled back. A newish relationship, someone getting triggered, and some cyclical thing happening where this person, exorcist person, comes in wanting a renewal, because inside they know that there's something more here, you know, there's something that connected on a sensual level here, but sometimes we don't want to see the traumas within to do the work. And I feel like what Spirit is showing is that in the next 30 days, this exorcist is going to want to have some sort of a reconciliation, a renewal in this connection, although there's a need to really get clear about where they stand, what they want to commit to here. And I don't know that they've done this work or this healing. You know, loneliness. I know that I am never alone. So it could be that this alchemist is going to want to engage with this exorcist, you know, to see what they can create here, at the point of maybe excluding a greater truth. And the greater truth is that this exorcist needs to exorcise their demons of the past. Okay, exorcise their demons out, which is unpacking, looking at situation and really sort of sitting with that. And I feel like this alchemist could certainly be lonely, very lonely, in parting with this exorcist, that they just want to engage, you know, to see what would come of this. But I feel this alchemist might be setting themselves up for more turbulency here, more triggering, more repetitive sort of cycles. So the alchemist is being sort of guided to not just act on, you know, because they feel lonely here, because this is them needing to know their self-worth. Like, someone can't just abandon you. You know, don't feel like you're going to be alone here forever and that you need to settle here for someone here who is clearly not doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know, if they want to heal, they have to do this work. Okay, so yeah, wow. Well, it seems like, you know, maybe only the last little bit here is showing what's going to happen, which is this desire for renewal. And I do feel it's this exorcist wanting, well, I feel both want to renew, because I do feel both are lonely, both have been apart, both feel the same way about each other. But I feel like this exorcist is going to want to come forward with a reconciliation, because I do feel this exorcist is sort of calling the shots here, because they're the ones who sort of got triggered by whatever was going on here. You know, and I don't think that the alchemist was definitely not trying to trigger this exorcist, but just the natural flow of things got to the point where there was a need to address this connection from a more deep perspective. So let's pull tarot just to see what's happening in the next 30 days, the month ahead here for this alchemist and this exorcist spirit. Pile 1 in their person. What is going to happen here between pile 1 and their person? What can pile 1 expect here? I'm kind of flipped funny. I'll do it like that. Now, I won't be surprised if we see hermits or the Wheel of Fortune coming through here, or 3 of Cups. Okay, so King of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, 3 Swords. This is this situation that's caused pain, you know, it's caused pain in this person's life, and they need to unpack these 3 swords from their heart, you know, like if it's not another relationship, it's some situation in their past that's really blocked their heart chakra, which led to a separation and led to pain for both these people. So I don't feel the exorcist wanted to cause the alchemist pain, but they did from some triggering from their subconscious. And I think the alchemist is feeling very sad, you know, by the words, actions, intentions of this exorcist. You know, I thought we had something. I thought we were going to create something. We had so much fun. Like, what's going on here? You know, like, can we not have something more? Or was this not going to be something more? You know, what was the whole point of us putting in this time, this energy, and this dedication if it was just going to lead to a 3 swords? Yeah, it's like the heaviness here, the straw that broke the camel's back, is the fact that there was a lot of pain here that needed to be resolved, which triggered more pain. So I feel this exorcist was carrying a broken heart. Okay, now it doesn't again mean that they were suffering a breakup. Could be, you know, they could have partner could have caused pain here in the past, a really bad heartbreak, but it could be just, like I said, something from childhood here that they've witnessed, you know. They witnessed, like, okay, well, relationships lead to breakups, and then on a subconscious level, sort of fearing that or guarding against that, and then here comes a connection which this person was engaged with to the point where it pushed them to that point, you know, to have to sort of face their heartbreak, face this thing. And it was too heavy for this exorcist to sort of carry. So we have the Magician in reverse, Virgo, Gemini. Yeah, like I feel like this alchemist might think that this exorcist is sort of calling the shots in some way, you know, like this exorcist is wanting to only manifest what they want at the exclusion of this alchemist. Like they're just sort of calling the shots and maybe manipulative in some way here because of how they're reacting or what's happened. But I feel like there's something, like I say, that this exorcist is not really knowing how to unpack within themselves, and it's very hurtful here. And also that this alchemist couldn't manifest. They couldn't create the thing here. Like they were trying to manifest and create, you know, this connection. And it didn't. This alchemist thinks it won't manifest. I can't create it now because of what has happened here. There's the Ace of Swords. This is the truth. Through adversity, we act in truth. We have a new beginning in truth. We have a conversation about what's real and we get clear. So I feel like the alchemist is wanting clarity and the truth in regards to what are we going to manifest. Again, I want the certainty. Where is this moving towards? What's going to manifest here? Now I want a new beginning in truth. And here's the Hanged One. Here's the exorcist taking the time off to contemplate. And look at this. The halo here, which is enlightenment, is also giving me this vow energy. So this exorcist is sitting in a period of limbo, trying to gain a better perspective in regards to how do I commit? How do I see above this sort of situation that has me stuck and feeling bad to see a greater picture here? Because I feel like this exorcist also feels the exact same way this alchemist did. So there's this like having to resolve, you know, to really sort of look at this from another perspective rather than just get triggered and be guarded and self-protected. And this helmet goes on your head. And so I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of thinking going on here. A lot of thinking going on. Here we have 5 Pentacles out in the cold. Nobody can win when we sit out in the cold. Okay, when we can go in the church and seek refuge, we're sitting here, separated, apart, unhappy, both out in the cold. And look at this winter period. So yeah, I feel like there's a change of seasons here. You know, now we're out in the cold. And the alchemist could think it's, you know, because this exorcist couldn't get it straight, and this exorcist might feel very bad because they weren't expecting the triggering to happen the way they did. So I feel like this exorcist certainly is going to want to come out of the cold to extend this renewal. Yeah, also this head enlightened. Yeah, lots of reflecting. I still don't see the hermit here, though. I feel like this is reflecting on, I don't want to feel separated. You know, I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to feel 5 Pentacles. Rather than let me go deep within to see, why did I get triggered? What's going on here? What's creating this 3 swords? It's just feeling too heavy by the 3 swords, and then needing to take action is kind of what I feel. Needing to take action, this King of Wands. You know, and the alchemist is sitting here like, I want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So I know what we're manifesting, because I feel like nothing's passing this little sprout that I've been working on, this sprout all on my own. 8 swords, you come out of limiting belief. So I feel like this exorcist, which is coming through as this Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy, is trying to look at what has happened and for them to free themselves of any limitation that they might have caused or believed, because I feel like it's a thought. Okay, it's a thought that they're telling themselves, and I feel like the exorcist is wanting to free themselves of this thought so that they can make themselves available to this alchemist. However, I feel, and we'll see another round here with the tarot, I feel as though this exorcist is going to want to have a renewal in this connection, release themselves from the limiting thought, because they're seeing something different, which is great. However, I feel it's still surface. And I feel like this person is just going to pull away enough to build the confidence here to come back in to potentially repeat another cycle. Because I feel like this exorcist still won't know exact truth in regards to what they want to manifest. They still don't know. They just know they don't want to be separated from the alchemist. And they know that it's caused pain. They know it's a burden to be apart. They know that they're feeling a burden here somewhere, but they don't know exactly how or what, because they haven't peeled it back. Yeah, and so they want to get out of this sort of state, because 7 of Cups is like muddled thinking. We're not very clear. We're leaving the back door open. We haven't chosen wisely. And it's like, you know, this is the burden. This is what's caused this sort of heartache. So it's like, okay, this alchemist will say, well, let me come back. I'll choose this alchemist again. I don't have to be apart from them. I don't have to limit myself, you know, and feel like I need to be apart. So I'm confident to come and see if this alchemist wants a renewal, because I can see from their perspective. Yes, we did have fun. Yes, there was something more here. Yes, I could see. And then when they get triggered again, not knowing why they're getting triggered, you know, really knowing why they get triggered, because I really feel this person's disconnected from this wounding that's happened to them. And so they just react and they say things, and things happen here without really peeling it back. So I'm going to pull another layer here to see what's going to happen in the next 30 days. And then we'll just pull a little bit around this resin, okay, to see what's going on and give you guys some background. But let's see what's happening in the next 30 days here between pile 1 and their person. I do feel this exorcist is going to come forward. They might have already come forward, and maybe you guys are on sort of okay terms, but you're still not sure, clear, because I feel like this alchemist probably made some leeway, you know, because I feel this alchemist felt lonely and potentially thought, okay, maybe things would move forward now, you know, we can sort of understand this. But I feel like the exorcist is not really going to understand anything until they go deeper, or else they're just repeating the same thing here. So let's see, which is all about, again, both parties learning their self-worth, not repeating cycles. Like, this exorcist needs to know that they're worthy of love. They don't need to get triggered. And this alchemist needs to know that they don't need to settle, you know, that they don't need to accept someone who is unclear. You know, if it's not a hell yeah, it's a hell no. So let's see, deeper layer here for pile number 1. 6 Pentacles, equal reciprocity, the give and take. 7 Wands, that's the defensive energy, fighting for what we believe in. So I feel like the alchemist, you know, certainly wants a balanced connection here. They want to receive, and they also want someone who's going to show up in an equal way, because I don't feel it's been this way. And they're willing to fight for this. And I feel like the exorcist could certainly have been quite defensive about what's going on with them here. 7 Pentacles. This is someone not putting in the energy and the effort. This is it's not producing anything, you know, like we have this sprout here, but no matter how much the alchemist would put towards this, it's never really resulted in the fruit, in the vow, in the commitment, in the thing that is giving them certainty and clarity. So this is like giving up. Ace of Wands in the exact same spot as the Ace of Swords. And I saw 2 aces, new beginning. This is a passionate new beginning. And look, the same little halo thing that I was seeing, very similar to this. So it's like driven by the passion, the desire, which I feel is there, you know, which is great, but passion, desire fizzle out, especially Ace of Wands, you know, as quick as a match. It comes, it also goes if we don't have long game, if we don't understand something that we're able to peel back the layers of, so that we know what's our long-term game. But I feel like this exorcist is wanting to act on their passion. And I feel it's true that this exorcist person feels pulled towards this alchemist. It's not like that they're trying to use them or, you know, or see if they could trick them. I feel like they're really passionately pulled. They really want to come forward here, but there needs to be an understanding of equal reciprocity. They have to be able to give. And I don't feel this person is in a position to give, even to themselves, until they do the work. High Priestess, Pisces. Okay, this is an intuitive knowing. And we have the Judgment. So this is the intuitive knowing, okay, that there's obviously something here I need to look at. We can't ignore it. But I feel like if it's painful, sometimes our subconscious doesn't let us look at it. And I feel like this alchemist intuitively knows as well that there needs to be balance here, or else what am I doing? I can't produce something here. So both parties are having to look at what's happened up until this point. This is us dealing with our karmas, okay? Really looking at everything that's happened and come into some sort of understanding. And if we don't come into this understanding, we then repeat cycles, because after the Judgment, we have the world. And if we close out the world, which is we close out the phase, the cycle, we start our fresh new life. But we can go from the Judgment and not conclude a cycle and go straight back to a Fool, which is repeating a cycle foolishly, because we haven't learned our lessons. But I think intuitively we know there's some greater lesson we need to understand here in what we've experienced. Yeah, look at the world still, exactly. And you saw me shuffle. So conclusion of a cycle, you know, the phase is over, or we close that chapter. We can now graduate to this new part of self. It's in reverse. We still haven't learned. We're still needing to close things out. This person still needs to learn their karmas in regards to blocks, pains, why makes them trigger, because they're just going to get triggered again. Intuitively, they're going to have to be very sort of perceptive in regards to there being something more here, or else they could just repeat. And this alchemist intuitively needs to know that I'm worthy of someone who doesn't just bolt, or someone who doesn't leave me feeling like it's not equal balance, because I am worthy of this. And so they have to sit there with their karmas and close that out and say, you know what, I'm not settling. And their world also gets closed out. But I feel like there still is needing closure, needing to close it out. So if you guys are apart, I feel like there's going to be you having to really sort of do what you need to do in order to get closure. Okay, but I feel like it's lessons learned, because sometimes we need to go on that merry-go-round many times over so that we can learn lessons. So it is up to you whether you feel you can close out the cycle or not. But I do feel like this person's coming forward here, wanting a reconciliation, understanding there's something greater here. And I feel the greater here is them learning a lesson here in this connection. You guys sort of mirroring to each other these lessons. Okay, have a new beginning, you know, full of passion here. But does it fizzle out? Is it something that is going to actually produce something? you know, and I'm getting that travel again. So yeah, like what I was getting from this ship, like I don't know if there was from the world, like if you guys are at a distance, maybe you guys were supposed to come in contact with each other, or someone was supposed to plan a trip here. And here we have the King of Cups in reverse. So this is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. So this is someone emotionally unavailable, you know, and I feel the Exorcist is emotionally unavailable. I really do. Like, they can be this jellyfish, which is show up and sort of engage, lighthearted energies, have a summertime fun, or whatever you want to call it. But the minute the rubber meets the road, this person's emotionally unavailable, and not because they don't want to be there emotionally. It's because there's some resin here, some situation of the past that's stuck, that they're not closing out, you know, that they're not healing from, that's still trapped as heartache. So they're incapable of really putting forward what they need to. So let's look at what this resin is, and then we'll wrap up this reading. So Spirit, what is this stuck sort of energy happening with this, or I guess with this Exorcist? This person in pile 1 that's stuck, that has this block, that's getting triggered. What more does there need to be in regards to pile 1, understanding this block? What more do they need to know, I should say, in regards to dealing with this block? Like, really, if you are the Exorcist, you need to do shadow work, you know. But if you're not knowing, then, I mean, you're just going to repeat a cycle until it hurts, you know. The 10 Wands, you can't know more. And sometimes we suffer to a point where we just don't suffer, like we don't want to suffer no more. And that causes change, is the catalyst for change, you know. But both people have to sort of get to the point where they don't want to repeat a cycle no more. They don't want to hang on to hurts no more. And I don't know that this Exorcist is there just yet, but I feel like even the Alchemist, if they're not there yet at their lesson, learning self-worth and not just falling for this Exorcist where they're at, then both people are still learning lessons. Yeah, Tower, that's this energy. The sudden falling away of the fake. So the fake needs to fall away, you know, and the fake is, let's sort of come together here, but not deal with the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is the Exorcist needs to reflect here. Okay, it needs to reflect here because it's going to cause triggering again. So when I ask, what is this resin? The resin is, there's fake things that are being held up. Fake beliefs, fake structures, fake things that this Exorcist is keeping up to prevent a collapse. But what happens is it gets triggered, and it causes triggering in this connection. And it has caused triggering in this connection. Knight of Wands in reverse. So Knight of Wands is a hot-cold type energy, comes in and fizzles out and, you know, pulls away, is sometimes isolated. So this is like the in and out sort of energy, but Spirit is really showing like this Exorcist person is needing to really look at their behavior of what's their motivation. You know, are they just sort of running in hot, or do they actually have like a game plan here? Or are they just sort of trying to upkeep a tower here? King of Pentacles, here's this vow energy. Okay, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. Committed, long-term, stable, secure, rooted, deep-rooted, and not to this in and out. So yeah, it's like this person has to examine their actions. The in and out needs to stop in order for them to dedicate themselves here to something more long-term. 5 Pentacles, there's that being out in the cold again. 5 Swords, self-sabotage, nobody wins. Words, actions, intentions cause pain to others. We sit indecisive. Okay, 3 Swords, words, pains, or words, actions, intentions causing pain. 3 Swords in a situation. Nobody's happy, and I sit here in 2 Swords, indecisive. And I'm only indecisive because of the fact that I am not doing what I need to do here. So both people are out in the cold again. 8 of Wands, no communication, no breakthrough, no movement. Things are stuck. Page of Wands in reverse, so we can't sort of have this new energy of exploring in a new way because we're too much still stuck in this old pattern, this old dynamic. We haven't been able to break out and explore outside of this, but I feel like both this page and this 8 Wands is both talking about communication. So we're not communicating, and then we saw the Sword of Truth. So I feel like the Alchemist needs truth, and only but the truth here. And this exorcist is not communicating, is avoiding communication. A star in reverse. So Aquarius energy, this is all about long-term vision, hopes. So this exorcist still doesn't know what they want for the future. This exorcist is still not getting their vision clear because they're trying to upkeep some sort of tower energy here, which causes five swords and five pentacles situation. Meanwhile, this alchemist wants truth. They want to know what they're attaining for the long term. They want commitment. They want equal reciprocity. Justice in reverse. Things are in balance. This is Libra energy. So what Spirit is really showing, because I was asking about this resin. This resin is causing imbalance. And for all of you guys, this could have stemmed from any sort of situation in which this exorcist learnt unhealthy sort of way of engaging. Not allowing themselves to have hope for what they want for themselves for the long term. They're kind of just in this jellyfish energy, you know, I'll just kind of float around and see what happens here. But the minute I need to commit, and this could be somebody who's scared of commitment, you know, then things get triggered here. So there's a complete imbalance. A complete imbalance. Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups is getting her wish. Okay, both the Star and the Nine of Cups is in reverse. It's like we don't get our wish. We don't get what we want. And we won't get what we want until we actually examine and do what it is we need to do. Then we can get what we want. But I feel like this is also the Selfish card, and we were seeing the Magician in reverse, you know. And so I feel like the alchemist might think this exorcist is selfish. You know, is really selfish, sort of getting what they want. Hedonistic, potentially focused on themselves, you know. And I feel like the exorcist, oh look, 5 cups, and I have 5 pentacles, 5 swords, 5 heads. I don't think the exorcist is enjoying themselves. In fact, I feel this exorcist is really saddened by their own action here, okay? And I feel like they want a 2 of cups. I feel like they just don't know how to deal with whatever's happened here. So we see them looking at the 3 cups, and 3 cups is reconciliation, and they're spilt over here. So I don't know, I feel like maybe you've given this person many chances already, you know, and now there's 3 cups spilled. So it's like this person's like, ooh, like I want reconciliation, but I've already ruined it. It's like, is pile 1, well, is the alchemist, I should say, because I don't know if you're the alchemist for sure, going to take me back because I've spilt my chance, you know. I ruined my chance for reconciliation in the past. So they're looking at it like, should I give it another chance here? Because I'm not happy. I'm not getting what I want here, but they need to deal with this tower. Okay, they need to deal with this tower. So this is what I see here for, you know, pile number 1 in regards to what's going on here. And the advice was coming through as leaning into your self-worth. If you're this exorcist person, you need to do the shadow work, see where the triggers are coming from, you know, not keep up towers and not repeat cycles. And same with the alchemist, not repeat cycles, but know that they don't need to settle. If they want the truth and nothing but the truth and balanced give and take, then they're going to have to stand their ground here. They're going to have to lean into what they want to create for themselves, you know, still have compassion for this exorcist, but tell the exorcist, like, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you are sort of understanding what's traumatized you, and you aren't capable of providing me with something further that I want, because there's some sort of fears you're needing to deal with here, you know. And even though we feel very lonely apart, we know that we're never alone because we're always connected, okay? And that is a lesson within itself, knowing how we're connected, not feeling apart. So if we feel we're led by our emotions because we feel apart and lonely, then we start to repeat cycles that isn't necessarily helping. Okay, pile number 1. This is your reading, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, my beautiful. Pile number 2. You guys picked pile 2 and the pre-shuffled oracle card. So we're going to look at person 1 versus person 2. And we're looking at the month ahead. Now, because energy isn't sitting linear, it could certainly be that this is energy that is already passing, okay? And if that's the case, then you could certainly go check on another pile to see if, put that there, to see if there's incoming energy coming in. Because if this sounds like very old energy, then chances are it... you might have another pile here, okay? I don't know where you are on the timeline. This could be passing, present, or future energies, but we're looking at what's coming in regarding you and the person on your mind. Could be anyone at all. And we'll take a look at kind of where you're energetically sitting, and then what will come or happen within the next month. Okay, so let's look at this person first, and we'll call this person the guide. Okay, so we have the guide. Light attributes represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. Shadow attribute places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. It was interesting because this person kept getting twos of every card here. Okay, not every pile did. So it's felt some very interesting energy coming from this guy. So we have porcupine, and we have spider, and we have sun. Divine masculine energy coming through with the sun. Doesn't mean this person's masculine energy, but it is pulling through. Could be Leo energy. And we have autumn. Look at all that orange. Autumn. So we have number 1 here. 1 is all about new beginnings, potential opportunity. And we have 19, which is the number 10, which is 1 again. Okay, 10 is about completion and transformation, but back to new beginning. So here we have the forest, 36, or the number 9. And we have the bridge, 38, or number 11. And 11 is divine inspiration and the synchronicities and encouragement to keep going. And it's also a lot of 1s here. So we have 1, 1, 1. Okay, so this is the guide. Now, if you resonate with one side or the other, then this is your pile. Okay, if you don't resonate with either side, then this isn't going to be your pile. Let's see this person. So this person we'll call the king. Light attributes, enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge. Shadow attributes, excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. And we have the frog. And we have the crab. Cancer energy coming through. And we have Chiron, number 11. 11, master number, like I said. Divine inspiration and the encouragement to keep going, and synchronicities. We have spring. Interesting. You know what? It's so funny because for pile 1 we got summer. Okay, I don't want to ruin it, but summer. Here we have autumn. Here we have spring. So I just find that funny. We got all the seasons except for winter so far. And here we have prayer with what is this? 65, which is 11 again coming through. So now we have 11, 11. 11, 11 is my twin flame number. Okay, so you could certainly be resonating with that in this connection. But if you don't, then that's someone else's message. So I'm going to be tapping into this energy. Let's see if you resonate with either side. So let's start with the guide here. Okay, I feel this guide person has been they really feel like they've been through a journey here. I'm almost feeling like hermit journey, you know, like understanding themselves, learning through experience in this connection, potentially at one point being very lost, not knowing where they're going, sort of fearful of where it was leading them, sort of at the mercy of what was happening, and feeling very dark because they couldn't see their way. They didn't understand what was going on. And I feel the guide wanted to create. I feel the guide, you know, has a beautiful energy here, but was at the mercy of their environment. And really, I feel this connection might have taken its toll on this guide person. But I feel like things are really changing here. Things are really shifting, okay? I think this guide is transitioning maybe from a sense of feeling lost and at the mercy of this king or this connection or what they couldn't see to someone who could see and could get empowered here, okay? And I feel like a lot of things are falling away that no longer serve this guide person in this connection. Old beliefs, maybe things that, you know, at one point they couldn't rid themselves of, but the only thing that remains is things of value. So I feel like there is this energy of, with the owl here, that this guide's experienced certain things that are of a value, that this guide now knows how to use, you know, like, oh, okay, now I understand this about myself. Now I understand why this has happened. Now I can see this clearly. Now I can get empowered to actually make decisions. Because I feel the guide really wants to create something, you know, it really wants to create something. And I feel like this guide could certainly now be a little more guarded, where maybe they weren't in the past with this porcupine. but I feel like there's something that goes way deeper than just this connection. Like, yes, we're looking at this connection in these two, but I feel like this guide has been triggered to go very deep, look at their ancestral wounds, look at themselves, like from a very deep, deep level here, understanding their own triggers, peeling back certain things about their own self here in order to do a whole bunch of shadow work and get empowered so that they could create something here with the sun and the spider. Okay, like really create something for themselves and feel empowered to do this, not at the mercy of others or anything else. So I feel like this guide is feeling, or will be feeling, like they're leaving a period of uncertainty, leaving a period of, they had an experience that was exactly that. There were a lot of painful parts, or a lot of parts that didn't make sense, but now we're closing the chapter to this new phase, which is, I can see, I can actually see what I want to create. I actually learned from my experience. I'm actually wiser than I was. I understand myself a little bit better. I'm a little more discerning here too. I'm not as easily fooled, or I'm not as easily susceptible to being fooled, and so I could protect myself better than I have in the past. But most importantly, I can see, and I feel empowered to take action in my own life. And they're kind of leaving this phase. Okay, now this king energy. I feel this king energy is struggled quite a bit here, and because we're looking at the connection, it again, yes, it's reflected back in this connection, because this could be why there was a lot of navigating, this guide navigating the forest blind, because this king, I feel like, probably was not so available. But I feel like there's, again, deeper than just this connection. This king had things that this king needed to look at in their own life. And with frog here, it's like clearing out certain aspects that no longer serve us, that sort of keep us an energy that doesn't allow us to expand, move forward. So it's like really reviewing things in our life, but also pain, because I feel with Chiron here, it's pains of the past that we need to look at. And so I feel like this pain has caused this person to be defensive, protective, but inside this crab, there's like this soft energy here. So I feel like this person has always felt very soft for this guide. There's always been emotions here, deep emotions, but I feel like the king has been quite guarded, not wanting maybe the guide to see what they were feeling or experiencing, because under that there was a lot of pain and experience and a lot of cleanup that this king had to do in this king's life. So I feel like this king was sort of leaning into their faith here, a lot of trying to hope for a better future here between the two, because I feel the king did want to have something here worthwhile with this guide, but I feel like they were potentially getting in their own way. But I feel like this king is seeing their actions impact other people, not just their own. And I feel like this king could have certainly been a selfish king at one point, but I don't feel like they were trying to be selfish here to hurt people. But I feel the selfish king was not knowing that their inability to heal themselves meant that they were damaging to others, and damaging to themselves. And when I say damaging, it's like, pain people cause hurt in other people. And so I feel like this king is understanding that they too can get in power, that they too can influence, other people here based on how they show up, and that they could make an impact to the people in their life if they show up differently. Because I feel this person, this king, could have certainly gave up on themselves. So I think there was a lot of faith, a lot of praying, a lot of hoping that things would change here in their own life. And I feel like this person too is coming into this spring energy, where they are coming out of the winter, where they were cold and defensive and removed, and didn't allow things to get warm and soft. And so now there's this, if I remove things here that don't serve me, if I'm able to detach from certain ways of being here that's caused nothing but pain because it stemmed from my past, then maybe I can cultivate something here through, you know, my belief in self and my belief in spirit and my ability to actually be empowered and show up here rather than maybe cowered out or not show up. Because I feel like this king might have not have showed up for themselves, you know, allowed themselves to be in an energy here that's made their situation messy, you know, rather than getting cleaned up. It's kind of what I feel, like getting cleaned up, actually transforming, being the best version of themselves, you know, because I feel like the pain was a lot, their experience of the past was a lot, so they just stayed sort of defensive, guarded. So let's see if we can see some more. We'll pull tarot for sure, but let's see with the month ahead energy. So if you resonate with one side being yours, you could certainly be this guide person, but being yours, then this is your reading. Let's see, month ahead. I feel like both people on their own are ascending, like they're doing what they need to on their own, you know. So we have wish. This is Aquarius energy, and look, the reflection. So this is a self-reflection. The self-reflection, by going in deep, by doing the shadow work, will allow there to be sort of a vision of what we want for ourselves for the future. I feel both parties have had to reflect on what they want. Soften. Yeah, I was getting soften coming out as a word here with the crab. Because I feel the crab was shutting out this guide, or just shutting people out in general, but I feel like in this connection, because this is what we're reading about, like this crab was impenetrable or just keeping their emotions kind of to themselves, you know. And so, and that's like this winter is starting to soften, it's turning into spring, you know. This candle is starting, the wax is starting to soften here because of this fire. And look, we got the sun here. So I feel like this guide has been around this king enough to soften this king energy, you know, by the light of this guide, to allow this king to soften, to allow this king to be inspired by this, the light of the guide, to make changes here, to release anything that doesn't serve. In between worlds, yeah, look, the bridge. Transition, like I said, this guide is going from one aspect of what they've experienced to the other side. So there's this bridge, this transition. So I feel like there's a transition in this connection from what this guide understood this connection to be, you know, lost, scary, unpredictable, not empowered, things that didn't really suit what this guide was maybe looking for or wanting, to now them being a little more defensive and maybe picking up from this crab energy, you know, to keep out anything that hurts them. But in order for them to create, for them to build, to feel empowered, for them to see clearly here, you know, to take what they need and leave the rest that doesn't serve them behind. Because in the autumn, we let the rotten fruit sort of fall away, and we only pick what's good, and we enjoy the rest with our loved ones. You know, I think Thanksgiving and sharing our meals and with the things that were actually produced here all summer. So I feel like there's a massive transition happening here between these two, and 5-5 is also a master number. This is about change is the only constant, divinely orchestrated change. So yes, I feel as though these two have been divinely guided to experience themselves so that they can make changes in their own life. Wow, very profound, you guys. And so this month to come is this period of transformation, this period of transition, this period where things are shifting and changing from what they know. Because I feel this guide has known this king to potentially be cold and have things that don't serve him and be in winter and pain. And this king has been like this, you know, and this king is now shifting to someone maybe more warmer, having hope with this prayer, you know, with this, seeing this wish, looking at themselves. And I don't think that this guide experienced this king in this energy in this way before, but I feel this guide is more focused on just empowering themselves, which is very different, because I feel like for the guide, this journey through the forest has been about the king, you know, has really been about the king. And now I feel like it's not really about the king here. I feel like it's about this guide getting clear about what they want to create, something for self. And this is where this person's journeying to. Impasse. So this is where the universe puts up a block and makes a sort of detour. It's like divine protection here. So I feel like potentially both parties feel they've hit a roadblock you know, an impasse here where they couldn't go no more. And I see the forest here. So I'm really getting the guide energy is no longer going to be exploring this forest. Like the universe has put this block here. It's like, and blocks come up, like I said, for a reason. The universe is saying, like, this is for your own sort of protection. But here I feel like it's the universe saying, you don't need to wander this forest anymore. Like, you've wandered enough here. You've wandered enough here. So there's no need for you to be in uncertainty and fear and any of that. The change here is that you've done enough wandering, guide person, to now get clear, to now get out of moonlight, to be in sunlight, where you empower yourself because you can see clearly. You know, if you're wanting to create something, your wishes are going to come true. You're going to create what you need to. And so the universe just puts up a block here, keeping you out of this forest energy, like this uncertainty and this navigating blind. Balance. Yes, I feel there is a shift in balance. Libra energy for these two, where things have been fairly imbalanced. And I feel like things have been very difficult and challenging between these two because things have been out of balance. Here we have doubt. I feel there is a lot of doubt by the guide. And we see these people look kind of angry. And this guide looks kind of angry in the face here. Okay. I feel like the guide has experienced a challenging situation here with this king. You know, I don't think the guide enjoyed wandering this forest alone, fearful and in the dark, uncertain, doubtful. So I feel this guide is doubtful that this king has any sort of anything different that could provide balance, because all they've experienced is imbalance and pain here. Pain by not being certain and clear and being able to create what they want. So we have gambler, loss, and risks. And we have runes, ancient wisdom, fate, and divinity. So this is interesting. I feel like the guide has accepted the fact that there's been some loss here, you know, in this connection, that they're not sure if they want to gamble anymore with this king. They don't know if that they want to take another risk here. You know, they doubt that this king has changed. They doubt that there's anything different here that they'll experience. They no longer can go through this forest navigating blindly and being in moonlight. So they don't want to take any risks. So they're in this porcupine energy. So for the month ahead, it's like, well, I'll be just sort of protecting myself here from getting hurt, because I no longer want to go navigating forests, and I don't really want to take any chance or risks here to experience the exact same thing I did. Things are imbalanced. I think this person learned their lesson, and they're just not really interested, you know, in exploring any of that. And so what I feel is that divinely, the universe is saying, well, this is the lesson that was to be learned. The guide is learning their lesson here. And this king is learning their lesson. And so divine ancient wisdom coming through here is saying, hey, like, you guys are divinely supposed to be experiencing something here in order for there to be something created. And so this is how this king is learning about their own challenge, their own frog energy, which is allowing other things, people, situations, and their own view of self get in the way. Their own pains get in the way of them having summertime energy. You know, do they want to stay in winter? No, they want to come out of this. So I feel like they're fated to come out of this. And this is sort of what was fated to evolve. Because again, change is the only constant here with master number 55. And that's what this transition is. So I feel like this is what's happening in this month ahead. So we're going to pull some tarot to see. Because I feel like... yeah, like the guide is just not really interested here in what the king has. And the king is sort of, look at that, sadness, 5 cups. So something's sad has happened here, you know. There's been disappointment. The king wasn't able to bring balance to a situation with the 2 cups. And I feel the guide got let down. And now this king is looking back on sadness. You know, the 3 spilled cups here. Spirit, can we get a deeper layer? What's going on with pile 2 in their person here? High Priestess, Pisces energy. Strength in reverse, Leo energy. Why is this 5 cups here? Ace of Cups in reverse. We have the King of Pentacles. We have Judgment. And we have the 7 cups. We have the Page of Swords. And we have 5 Pentacles. Wow. So a lot of you guys might be pulled to pile 1 because a lot of these cards came out, and the Knight of Swords. Okay. So what's happening in the next month? I feel like the King is maybe doing something that the King has not yet been able to do, and start really questioning themselves. You know, why have I not been able to lean into my courage, my strength here to actually, you know, come into some understanding, some greater truth about themselves, like actually looking at this. Because I feel like this King has had a lot of confusion with this frog energy and made things confusing in this connection, because the guide is experiencing a forest, not knowing their way through these trees, you know, staying in moonlight because this King couldn't choose and didn't make things clear. And so I feel like this King is getting clear by asking themselves a lot of questions about self, because it's resulted in 5 Pentacles, because there's an intuitive knowing here. Okay, there's an intuitive knowing here that there's something more here. And I feel like this King understands. I'm getting King Pentacles energy from this King as well. This is all about us being reliable, you know, us being committed and solid and long-term. We were getting from the Star, like the long-term vision of self. So I feel like this King is having to really look at what they want. And I feel like in the past, in my passing position, what has been experienced is loss, sadness, you know, an inability to give to self, to have an emotional new beginning full of love and abundance here. So it's resulted in a loss. Okay, and I think this is what's triggered this person, this King, to really sort of be in this energy. But I feel like this loss and this experience has also triggered the guide to look within self and say, do I want to be in a situation that's unclear? Do I want to be in a situation where, you know, this King isn't really stepping into their courage? Because intuitively, I know that I deserve a long-term, reliable, stable sort of energy here. Like, this is a greater truth. So both parties are reflecting here, and I think both are going to confront what this is about. Like, both are going to confront. Like, this King is going to say, hey, like, I need to be honest here in regards to what has happened. And I feel there will be communication. And what has happened is that I was potentially cowardly here. I potentially led to this 5 Pentacles, and I led to you sort of not being very clear about my intention or what I wanted. And this has caused a lot of pain here. And the guide saying, okay, well, because of the fact that I was feeling like I couldn't create anything here in this situation, I'm not sure that I want to be in this situation no more. I'm now moving forward to the next phase here. Something more certain, something I could rely on, because I can no longer sort of navigate here in this forest. Like, they can't. Like, there's the universe put this impasse, okay? They're no longer able to go navigating through a forest here that isn't providing any sort of abundance to them. So, wow, let's see. This is like a complete role reversal here, I feel. Let's see what's going to happen in the month ahead then for these two. Spirit, can we get a deeper layer in regards to pile 2 and what's going to happen between these two in the month ahead? Yeah, just as the King softens, I feel the guide sort of leans into this owl energy, which is, I've learned from my experience. You know, fool me once, shame on me, but fool me twice. Now I can't sort of engage in this way. I don't want to take any risks. I don't want to experience what I've experienced here. And the universe is saying, hey, like, everything's happening here for a reason. There's greater purpose here. So, Spirit, what is going on here between pile 2 and their person? What is this month ahead have in store for this connection? Okay. I do feel this one. Okay. And new beginning. A new beginning here. Ace of Wands. This is an inspired new beginning. Like a new beginning. Ace of Cups in reverse. So where we were left off in the last spread, things didn't work. You know, this is an inability to sort of give oneself love and be emotionally available and offer our cup to another here and have a new beginning. Like, things were blocked here. And I feel like if one side of the equation is blocked, then both sides are sort of stuck. And I feel the King was sort of blocked And it led to this guide to have to do something else here. And so I do feel it led to there not being a new beginning. Yeah. So this is the energy, the effort, the dedication we put towards something in order to attain our harvest. And I feel like this guide was trying to get a harvest, trying to create something, putting in the energy and the effort. And all it resulted here was a nothing new starting emotionally, like this king being emotionally unavailable. But now we have this new beginning. Look, it's 10 Pentacles and something long-term, something committed, something solid. King of Wands. This is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is the confidence to take action, to make something happen here. 8 Swords. This is our own limiting belief. Something keeping us stuck. Here's the Tower. This is the fall away of the false stories. And this is this frog energy, okay? So when we are upkeeping things that don't serve, we need to allow them to fall away. And I feel like there's a sudden sort of falling away of what was limiting in this connection because of the fact that we couldn't come together here. Someone was incapable, which I feel is this king of being emotionally available to start in something that is long-term here and solid. Yeah, movement now. So this is like a sudden thing that happens, and this is very fast, sudden. So I feel like, yeah, this is just happening quickly. Like things are shifting here, things are turning, things are shifting in a way that I don't feel this guide nor this king was sort of expecting here, because of the fact that things have happened the way they did. You know, because of this guide's energy sort of really shifting completely, saying, hey, nothing's really come to fruition here. I feel this king feels a sudden urge here to lean into something more long-term, to lean into what they want, because I feel this king has always really wanted this guide person, but was limited because of their own beliefs, was potentially not confident enough to lean into a new beginning here. So I feel like something very fast here happens. This is also about communication, you know. Okay, 4 Wands, look at that, coming together, union, stability, structure. Okay, this is like family, this is long-term. This is also marriage. So I feel like the king is inspired to take action where they might have not have in the past, because I do feel there's a softening here and an understanding and an inspiration with this little flame coming from this soften's head, which is this wand. I feel this king is inspired to take action, to come together. Okay, this is also my 1111, which is my twin flames card, if you're resonating with that, because I feel like the sudden realization here is, oh no, like the guide is done, like the guide is in this porcupine energy, because I feel this guide has experienced something here that they need to protect themselves, and they were trying, I feel here at some point, to create something, and now they're not wanting to take any more chances with themselves, you know, not to take a chance in getting lost again. This guide is empowered to create something here with this sun energy, you know, their own future, move towards this, with or without this king. And so I feel this king has no choice but to release certain things in their life here that were caused by past pains. And so they're going to have to step up to unite here. And I feel they want to unite, and this will be a very quick sort of moving energy, quick realization here. It's like, yeah, I have to let what doesn't serve fall away, because it is just a thought that I had, that I was very limited in my ability to make something happen here. So let's see what's behind here. 5 of Cups. This is, yeah, the driver here is the experience I feel that they've had. Like both of them have experienced sadness, both of them have experienced challenges in this situation, but here we have the 2 cups still remaining. This is the coming together. But it's like, how does the king reconcile, you know, what they need to in order to make themselves available, and how does the guide sort of deal with the loss and the suffering that they've had experience in this connection? So I feel like both are having to find balance in order for them to come together, because 4 is all about balance, but both sides have to be balanced in order to create a solid sort of structure here. And it's all about loving self, you know, loving self enough to have the confidence to go after what we want, and putting in the energy and the dedication and the effort here, and not letting our limiting thoughts sort of get in the way. So I feel like this is what's in store here for pile number 2. I do feel there's a coming together, and I feel it's pretty sudden here, and I do feel this king takes action. Okay, King of Wands energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and they take action because I feel like they don't want to lose this guide person who is sort of moving to things that just make better sense for them. And I don't know if this king, you know, says enough here to allow the guide to see that this king has made change, but I feel like there is this softening of the ice, you know, and I don't know, through like faith, prayer, a belief here that the king has had in this connection to make things happen. I feel like it is actually coming through, like with this wish, you know, like our ability to look at self and our own distortions and deal with our own emotions. Wow, that freaked me out. Freaked me out. Okay, so pile number 2. I don't know, that was a very freaky energy here. It's almost like I went into some sort of portal. Pile 2. This is your reading, okay? So I hope this resonated for you. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you. Bye. Hello, gorgeous angels. Pile number 3. You guys picked these oracle cards. Pre-shuffled, I have not looked at them. We're looking at person A versus person B, or 1 and 2. So you'll resonate with either side here, if this is your pile. And if you resonate with no side, then this potentially isn't your pile. Okay, so don't force it to fit or to be your pile. We'll compare these two people, you versus your person on your mind, and then we'll look at the month ahead. And now the month ahead isn't set in stone, so it's approximately a month ahead. Okay, so just take whatever resonates here in regards to where you're at energetically. But if this is passing energy, meaning it sounds very old, then chances are your pile could be another pile. Okay, so let's take a look. First person we'll call the thief. Light attributes, sheds light on potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. Shadow attributes, stealing money, creative ideas, affection, or other powers you think you lack. And we have the house cat. And we have the squirrel. Okay. And we have mortification, number 68. And we have the kiss, 60. Okay. Let's look at this other person. This person we'll call the victim. Light attribute, prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. Shadow attributes, playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. And we have cardinal. And we have reddening, number 55. 55 is a master number. Change is the only constant, and it's also divinely orchestrated change. So whatever's happened here between you and this person was divinely meant to happen in order to instill change in us. Big change. Thanatos, and this is 73, which is number 10. 10 is all about transformation and end of cycle. So before I look at the sort of upcoming month and the energy here, let's tap into who these people are. So you'll know who you are on one of these sides, because these two people seem very different. And if neither side resonates, then this isn't your pile. Although at first blush, we might not want to admit or know whether we are a victim or a thief. So keep an open mind here, okay? And sometimes my readings come through very strong for me to understand the message. So it could be on any scale. But one person certainly a thief, one person certainly victim here, okay? So with the thief, and I feel like, oh, I'm reading most likely for this victim person, okay? But this thief person, I feel like the victim is looking at the other person as a thief here, okay? But I don't feel like the thief understands that they're a thief so much, but I feel like this thief person is somebody who's been fairly inconsistent here, okay? Just kind of doing their own thing, not really caring about their action so much and how it might impact other people. They're very sporadic in what they want to do and how they want to do it. Okay, and I feel like this victim person doesn't quite understand this thief person's actions because it doesn't really maybe make a whole lot of sense. But I think to the thief, their actions make sense to them in some way. It might not make sense to other people. But I do feel like there is an aspect of this thief that, although I don't necessarily think this victim sees it, that this thief is not as uncaring as they might appear. Okay, I think in action sometimes they might seem inconsiderate, or in a way here that they are just doing whatever they want to do sort of in the moment or in the minute. But I feel like there is something here that does speak to the thief here. You know, it's like a house cat wanders from the home and could maybe spend many days out of the home and come back here, and it might necessarily mean that this cat was doing anything to betray the victim, so much as the cat is sort of a free spirit here wandering around. Now, I'm not saying that that's should be allowed, or that that's acceptable and this victim needs to allow this, but up until now, this is what this thief knows, and says, well, as long as I know that I'm, you know, not doing anything to hurt this victim, what does it matter if I'm a cat here? Because my freedom of wandering and exploring, because I'm a wild cat here, makes sense to me, right? Like, this is their understanding. Not thinking like, okay, like, what could this mean to the victim, you know? So I feel like this person, this thief person, could certainly be somebody who values their independence, values their freedom, has probably been inconsistent here, or consistently inconsistent, you know, maybe focused on their own thing, trying to attain something here for self, because I feel like with the squirrel sort of is pretty productive, you know, for long term, and gathering their nuts and doing what they need to do here. But I think it's some sort of system pattern that no one might be familiar with. So I feel like this thief is used to just kind of doing things on their own, you know, and it doesn't mean that this thief doesn't have any long-term vision for self, or isn't thinking that there could be a long-term here with this victim. But I feel like from the victim's point of view, I feel like the victim just sees this thief just doing its own thing. Okay, so I feel like this thief is amidst a massive transformation here with this mortification. And I feel like this thief has experienced sort of a deep connection with this victim in a way that I think has triggered this thief to be on a journey here of self-discovery. Because when we go through this mortification, our old self sort of falls away, and we see a truer version of ourself. That's a cascade of opening a bunch of doors. We start to question a bunch of things about self here. And so we start to see that maybe we have been acting as a thief, you know, and I feel like the thief is the energy of just sort of taking energy from other people and not really being considerate, doing whatever we want to do with it, and taking what we need when we need it, you know, for our own sort of later thing. So we might not feel like we're thieving, or we might not feel like we're doing anything sort of bad per se, but it doesn't make the other person feel so good. So there's we'll see with the tarot here, but I feel like there's this change, because I feel this thief is actually seeing themselves differently now. You know, they can actually see this way of being. Now, I'm not saying that this thief has changed, and I'm not even saying that this thief has communicated to this victim that, oh, I could see the fault of my ways, or that they're admitting that they're at fault in any way. But this thief now sees something they didn't see in the past, which is going to lead to them having to make this sort of transformation of self. Because once we see something, shadow self, we can't unsee it. It's no longer in the subconscious. And so we engage with it differently, because when we shine the light on a certain aspect of self that we didn't see, it was causing chaos or havoc in our life. And once we see it, it slowly starts to change our life, because we engage differently. And so I feel like this connection has allowed this person to see something about self here. Okay, so victim. I feel like this victim person needs to learn how to set boundaries, because I feel like this person is blaming this thief for a lot of their suffering. And I don't think that this thief is the reason for all this person's suffering. Yes, in the circumstance, the thief might have done all the things here to create this victim to feel bad. But I think the victim was already a victim beforehand, because I think there's things within this victim needing to be looked at before this experience that led to them being, I don't know if this is taken advantage of, using the victim's words, and that's taken advantage of. Although I don't think the victim was taken advantage of so much as this victim didn't know about boundaries. And I feel like there's something here about the ancestral wounds that were needing to be looked at and healed. And so I feel like this victim is historically maybe looking at the past situations of things that they've suffered here, and other people have created this, and it's external from them, because I feel everything's external from them, rather than them saying like, what I've experienced here has all been my own perception, you know. And I'm not victim blaming, saying that this victim deserves to be treated in any which way, other than we surround ourselves with energy and we see in others what it is that we're projecting with our own eyes, with our own experience. And so I feel like what to this victim's experience here has been something very painful. And I feel like they've also been triggered here into some sort of awakening here with this reddening. And this is the beginning of healing a long sort of, I don't know, like a lineage of pain here, and something within them that I feel is needed to get looked at. And so this experience has happened as sort of a trigger here. Now I am being called to read this Thanatos. Give me a second. Okay, so what do we have there? There we go. Yeah, look at that. Death. It is tempting to oversimplify death. Interesting, because both of you guys got death. 2 different tarot packs. And sum it up as transformation. But the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the ending of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control. In every form, it leaves a mark of ash upon our heart, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld and will return to the land of the living eventually, with more compassion and wisdom to share. This capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. When light, grieving, mourning, bearing witness to all that is. When dark, fear or intensity, to old age, illness, and the dying. Okay, mirroring. So, both of you guys are mirroring to each other and triggering. And I feel like this is much needed, although very, very painful. I feel very, very, very intense energies here. And what this is doing is triggering an awakening within each of you guys. This person's awakening to their true self, to seeing how their actions are impacting other people, rather than just being in their subconscious acting willy-nilly here and chalking it up to them not really being too concerned here, because if they know it's all good, then everyone else should know it's all good, but that's not necessarily the truth here. And this person is having a spiritual awakening within self to see their true self. That no one can hurt you, that no situation can rob of you anything, that there is no thieving to happen. No one can steal anything from you. You're whole and complete. You're pure. You're untainted. It doesn't matter what has happened so much. All that matters is the story we tell ourselves. All that matters is the experience we hang on to and replay. That's the suffering. And so as long as we're hung up with the story, replaying it, feeling victimed, then it hurts. And so I feel like this person is learning about healing. This person's learning about self. This person's learning about everything that's sort of accumulated to this in this person's life that's led to them feeling the way that they feel. And so I feel like this person's also learning that they can't be attached to anything. Things are constantly changing. And things will constantly change. And so there's a need for them to shift how they see things here. Wow, this is really intense. Let's take a look at the month ahead here energetically, and then we'll pull some tarot as well and see if we can get some insight. So we have balance. Yeah, both people are on like opposite ends of their balance. You know, and sometimes the universe brings us in contact with another person to mirror back to us, and they're polar opposite. So I'm feeling like twin flame energy here, you know, like polar opposite, because one person is so in one sort of energy, and the other person's in this polar opposite sort of energy. And so there's a need for both parties to find balance. and find a middle ground. Now, that doesn't mean the thief has to go and become victim and the victim has to go and become a thief so much as learning how to be the thief and the thief the victim, but there's a middle ground that this victim doesn't have to be so in this victim mentality sort of energy. You know, the story that they're telling of themselves of what's has happened here, and this thief doesn't have to be so hanging on to some sort of understanding that they have that their freedom is just means them at all costs sort of shutting someone out or not communicating or doing whatever they want. That's to be considerate here. You know, that there is a middle ground. And I feel like there is the bonding between these two that are making these two sort of have this awakening, if you will. Noise. So there's lots of distortion here and a lot going on. And look, we have the dark and the light, which is all about balance, the yin, the yang, the masculine and the feminine. So when we're listening to noise and distortion, we get confused because we have to tap into the greater self despite all the noise that's going on around us. Share tenderness, 74. Look at these two roses. And then we have this little spiral. So I feel like it could certainly be a spirally dance here between these two in order for them to get to where they need to go. But the spiral is always outward pushing. Okay, and so I feel like it is getting there, although sometimes it's like 2 steps back, 1 step forward, and then 1 step or 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and eventually we get there. But I feel like there could certainly be cyclical behaviors here of not feeling like we're moving forward, but I feel like there's 2 people on this journey having to be compassionate with each other. 74 is 11. 11 is a master number about divine inspiration and it's the encouragement to keep going. And wisdom, yeah, experience, understanding. So I feel like this partnership is bringing a lot of wisdom to both in regards specifically because I'm seeing the green ray, which is our heart chakra, about unconditional love, about opening our heart space here. Okay, and so wisdom isn't like used by the mind so much as it is our heart wisdom, our deeper knowing, you know, actual wisdom here, not intellectual knowing, but heart knowing, heart wisdom. And we have the spy master, knowledge and distrust. So we see the key. Key is all about answers, solutions. Birds are all about communication, and these crows travel between worlds with delivery of communication. We have knowledge and we have wisdom here, and distrust. Both these people are learning how to communicate with each other and trust each other and find a middle ground here despite their traumas, because I feel like their trauma is the lens that's distorted in which they're seeing each other. And so as they clear their distortions and their lenses, they find balance. Because I think the victim sees this thief in one light that's been created by their experience of the past and their ancestral wounding and their experience. And so they can't help but see this thief from some sort of distorted perspective, and same with this thief seeing the situation from some sort of perspective. So they're having to find balance and work together to find a way here to build trust. But I feel like there is distrust, and I feel like this thief doesn't trust this victim, and not because the victim's acted in shady ways, but this thief probably doesn't trust anyone. They need to have massive transformation. And this victim certainly doesn't trust this thief because they've given him every reason to distrust them. Although, just because they're wandering her house cat doesn't mean that this victim doesn't need to trust this, because this might be how this thief identifies his freedom. Not that this house cat, like I said, is up to no good. More so it doesn't feel good to this victim that this house cat is not coming home for 3 days. Okay, and again, I'm not saying let your house cat go wander for 3 days and you should be okay with it, but I'm saying this thief might be correlating wandering for 3 days. This is something here that they need to do because they distrust themselves and distrust situations. And that's how they react to it. Not that they're doing anything to hurt this victim on purpose so much as this is how they're, I don't know, how it comes out. Complacency. So we have the red, which is root chakra. And we have acceptance. More root chakra stuff. So the root chakra for me is always about it's like a fight or flight type energy, because if we don't feel safe and secure, you know, so it's always with the traumas here, because our first thing is to protect ourselves, you know, and to need to feel secure and safe. And so when we don't, we sort of get triggered by our traumas in our lower chakras. And so I feel like both parties are learning how to accept themselves, how to work with situations here, how to not stay stuck in old ways of being with this complacency. But this is how I've always understood it, and this is how I always, you know, experienced it. So therefore, this is what I'm going to believe, and therefore I'm going to stay in this sort of state and not allow myself to expand past this. And this thief, this is how I've always understood it. This is how I've always been. And, you know, and so this complacency keeps us stuck in our own way of being. Meanwhile, the universe, like I said, divine coming together here is about shifting, is the death, is the spiritual change and transformation we each need. How to accept parts of ourselves, and how do we accept others when others are maybe acting in a way that our old self would have seen as challenge, or something that makes us feel insecure in some way, or not safe. Indecision, I use my intuition in all aspects of life. So I feel like with this indecision and this distrust, I feel both people are uncertain about where the other person stands here. A victim feels hurt by the thief, doesn't trust them, so they're indecisive about, you know, what do I want with this person? Should I even do anything with this person? And this thief has indecision about the victim because they don't trust themselves and they don't trust people in general. Locket, commitment, loved ones, and partnership. So loved ones keeps coming through here with the cardinal. I don't know. I feel like there is a family support here. Specifically, it's coming through in the victim side. So I don't know if the victim feels like they're not getting the support they need, or that because of their experience here with the family or whatever, maybe they always felt abandoned or not like they had some sort of support or commitment here. And so maybe they're really trying to attach themselves to this thief as someone that could commit, you know, and could show to them something that their family did not here. You know, but I do feel here with commitment, loved ones, and partnership that there's something more here to be had that is solid, that hasn't yet revealed itself, because both parties are triggered here and having to work through their ways of being in order to get to a committed area, place. Broom, yeah, they got to clean out whatever's causing chaos in their life. New starts, cleansing, and resources. So this is shedding away, I feel. Shedding the egos, cleaning ourselves, removing any of our old ways of being or old ways of believing, because it's fight or flight, and so we're triggered. Learning to accept ourselves, parts of ourselves, and learning to recognize parts of ourselves that we don't need to accept, that are just causing issues that we can part with if we want to heal, if we want to make changes in our life. You know, we don't just say, oh, I accept the fact that I keep getting abandoned here, and so therefore this is what I'm going to accept. It's like I need to be open to the fact that maybe I'm not abandoned here. Maybe I am whole and complete. Maybe I feel this way because of experiences that I had. And then accept the fact that other people aren't going to fill this for me. Other people aren't going to make me feel whole. I accept the fact that, you know, that I've been sort of suffering and I don't need to be suffering, that there's something more here. You know, I accept the fact that I am distrusting. I accept the fact that I can't, and this is the thief saying this, you know, that I'm causing havoc here because of my inability to trust. That my indecision is causing there to be a lack of trust here. And so I need to clean certain things out in my behaviors in order to have a new start. So I feel like both people, especially here with this kiss, like want some sort of coming together, but both are sort of dying on the hill in which they're standing on, you know, thinking the other person's wrong, or not seeing the error of their ways because it's all in shadow. And so we're looking external. What is that other person going to do? What is that other person going to say? That other person did this and created that. And then we start to repeat cycles. So Spirit, we're going to pull some tarot and get a deeper look at pile number 3. Spirit, can we take a look at pile 3 and their person? What's going to happen here in the next month? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. What's happening here in the next month between these two? Now, this is give or take 30 days, okay? You could be certainly going through this right now. This could be something coming out of existence or coming into your existence. All right, so we have 5 Pentacles, out in the cold. I feel both feel out in the cold. Death. Look at how many times you guys getting death, okay? Now, death isn't just 10 swords where it's the end of a relationship and it's an ending and that's it. Death is massive transformation, spiritual transformation, a huge phase in our life that's completely changing. And I feel like it's changing. So as things change, we feel 5 Pentacles because we haven't got to the other side yet, you know? It doesn't feel good. We might feel abandoned by the other person. I feel both people feel abandoned here. But they might be too busy looking at the other person as the reason why, you know. Meanwhile, these two can go into this church and get warm. But there's a transformation that needs to happen in a mindset. So I feel like both of these people are out in the cold of their own sort of doing. Their own experience has led them out here. And so the only way that they could get back to safety is by having a transformation. Because they don't realize they can go in the church. They don't think that they're out here because of their own doing. But their own doing is leaving them out here. Their own doing. So the victim being victim is what's caused this person to be out in the cold. And the thief being the thief is what's caused the thief to be out in the cold. It's not that the victim caused the thief to be out and vice versa. So huge transformation with these two. 7 Pentacles, effort, energy, and time and dedication we put towards something and not attaining the fruit. So I feel like both of these people haven't really attained anything here, except for probably pain and suffering. And it could be that they're wanting to give up. Okay, but remember, 11 is all about the encouragement to keep going. And so I feel like both parties are being encouraged to keep going here in this connection. But I feel like it's keep going in their growth, you know, keep going in their growth and lean into this transformation, because we could get complacent and stuck if we're sort of more focused external on what other people are doing and what's happening out there. Emperor, being empowered, Aries energy, divine masculine, Knight of Swords in reverse. So this is the opposite of confronting what we need to. This could be us running away from what we need to confront. Page of Swords in reverse. Yeah, like not starting to question and ask ourselves what we need to. Why haven't I manifested what I wanted? Why has nothing sort of come to fruition here? Actually start to peel back the layers to look at answers in regards to why this has been, and then get empowered to take action. Because we can't rely on someone else to take action for us. But we're sitting here sort of in this defensive energy. This is the wounded warrior. So we've been hurt and now we're sitting there guarded. Not quite sure how we're going to take action, but we need to take action here. If we want some results here, we have to take action. And it starts with really questioning everything, including ourselves, and then confronting this, which I don't feel these people are doing. Yeah, they're sitting there in anxiety, which is, this has happened and that has happened, and therefore this is happening. And so the anxiety is bigger than what's actually happening in the real world, but it keeps us frozen and it keeps us not wanting to act. But I don't feel either party want to give up on each other, because I feel like they're still there, just sitting in some sort of mindset, feeling abandoned by the other, needing to transform. Look at King of Cups, emotionally unavailable. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. But cups, showing cups here, there is love here. Okay, there is love here that can't come to fruition, is very blocked here. It's needing to transform, because now we're experiencing a 5 Pentacles. Okay, so I feel this is mirroring for both. So I don't feel as though this is like one or the other. I feel both people are emotionally unavailable, coming from a true heart space because of traumas and because of an understanding that each person has had. So now let's take a deeper dive here and see what's going to happen here between the victim and the thief, or the pile 3 and their person. What can they expect to happen here? I feel like it's just a reflective time where both are feeling let down and pained. And this might be what both these people need in order to make the change in their life, to have this spiritual awakening, to get empowered to say, you know what, like, I'm my own sort of captain here. I got to start seeing things different. I can't just keep following the same narrative that I have about what has happened to me and why things keep happening to me in a certain way because of my beliefs or my understanding, my experience. I got to shift this. So star, hope, Aquarius energy, long-term vision, what we want to attain for ourselves, following our North Star. This is also destiny. I feel something's very destined about these two people meeting. High Priestess in reverse, not listening to our intuition. Okay, we don't see where this is leading us. The destiny is leading us somewhere and we don't see it. We can't see it because we're too blinded by what's happened here. And once we start to peel the layers back, we start to come into contact with our intuition and we work with spirit. Right now I feel like we're stuck in the he said, she says and in the traumas of what's happened. So we don't really see what the future holds here. Strength, courage, Leo energy. Both people are being encouraged to lean into their strength. Not to be held back, because I feel both people are sort of held back here by their experience. Moon. Pisces, Cancer. Oops. I don't know if that's going to get. So, this is our fear. This is our emotions. This is also right beside the High Priestess in reverse, which is, it could be deception. It could be lies or untruths, but really what I'm feeling is we don't see because of the massive fear and anxiety that we have. So our emotions are really strong here, but we can't work with our emotions and see them proper, and we don't see what's happening here because we're so in the weeds of it. Noise, right? Yes, that's exactly it. So the pain is loud. What we've experienced in the past is loud. It's dictating our actions. I'm so angry, all I see is red. And so I can't, be, I don't know, I'm so angry, all I see is red, creates noise. And then we get removed from our intuition. And I feel like Spirit is saying this is a destined sort of partnership, more is to happen. We can't see it as long as we're sort of stuck in the mindset that we are. And we can't be held back by fears. We cannot be held back by fears. We have to lean into our fear in a way here that expresses courage. Five of Cups in reverse. Yeah, so we can't keep crying over the spilt milk, what happened in the past and mourning it. We got to get out of this mindset. We have to get out of that. And so I feel like we don't see how to get out of this because we're just more engaged in that. But I feel like Spirit is saying you just need to lean into your courage. Let go of any sort of need to understand. But your emotions here is what really matters. And if we're really, really sort of emotionally charging a narrative that we're telling ourselves, then the narrative is something that isn't true. It's just a story we've made up to support some sort of illusion that we carry. It's distorted. And so it's creating distortions in this connection. Okay, it's creating distortions in this connection, which we need to shed. 9 Cups, we could get what we want. Look at that. Getting what we want. Our wish is fulfilled. True happiness, emotional fulfillment. So I feel like for the month ahead, we're sorting through distortions. We're sorting through illusions. We're sorting through what's happened to us and what we've experienced into facing our courage, knowing that there's something greater, listening to the divine here where we were blocked, so that we can get to what we want. Ace of Cups in reverse. So it's all about self-love, filling our own cup. Okay, like the victim doesn't need to wait for the thief to fill their cup up, and the thief doesn't need to, the thief needs to learn about self-love, because I feel like the thief is doing something here that is stemming from them not seeing their full self-worth or self-love. So as both engage that way, they don't get what they want. So I feel like this lesson, whatever's happened in the past year, is allowing these two to have massive transformation. It's allowing this victim to arise into their true self, shed whatever they need to. Okay, follow this destined sort of path. And I feel like this thief is learning to shed distortions about self, lean into courage, and know that they have a distorted sort of a view here and misconception in regards to how they're seeing connection. And I feel like both are pained. Both were 5 Pentacles and 5 Cups. So once they get out of feeling sad and sorry for themselves, they now know that to get what they want is more important than feeling sad and having the stories and justifying why they're a victim or why it doesn't work, because they could do this and be justified, or they can focus on what makes them happy and let go of these stories. Now, the Hermit, so they still need to reflect. So what's happening this week? Both of these people are needing to go inwards, really reflect, needing to see a greater truth, not be stemmed by fears, not be stemmed by stories, not be stemmed by noise, which is the actions of the past. Once they let go of the actions of the past, okay, now this doesn't mean you have to completely forgive your person if they did something here that was so horrible, but question with that Page of Swords in reverse, like question, am I reacting solely proper to this connection, or has it been amalgamation of stuff that's made me act the way that I do, that I'm so triggered here by my root chakra that I felt unsafe, but it's really your triggering that you felt unsafe, victim. You know, and then the thief's supposed to act like, was I acting like this cat energy and this squirrel energy and this energy of how I normally act because of the victim, or is this just a way of me being to sort of protect myself? You know, because I don't know my own self-worth and self-love here, or that I'm worthy of getting what I want here, and I'm sort of complacent here, and so I need to accept that there's things here that I need to do differently. You know, I can't just be this wandering cat and expect this victim to understand, you know, and this is going to take a lot of courage to lean into this. So I feel both parties are reflecting each other, which is all about what we learn in the process, you know, and the green, like I said, is all about the heart chakra. And look at this peace. So I feel you guys find peace, but I feel like it's going to be a bit to get there. I don't feel like this is going to happen instantaneously in the month ahead, but I feel in the month ahead, this is experiencing this so we can connect to heart, so we can connect to the wisdom we've learned and what we've experienced when we were navigating sort of blind in the moonlight here, okay? But I feel the end result is one of getting our wish, attaining what we want here. But it stems from knowing our self-worth and filling our own cup, and only we can do this. Only we can. No one else can do this for us, okay? So we find balance, and then we can find balance with others if we're balanced and not dependent on other people. So I feel like we can't see this just yet, but this is what's coming. Pile number 3. I hope this helped you guys, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.